So next up, we have John Brawley, and his presentation is The Music of Chance. Welcome up, John.
All right, well, part of the problem of answering the phone and finding yourself agreeing to come up here one day is sitting through to the end and then being into all these stories and then completely forgetting what you're going to talk about. But I think I'll remember it. Okay, here we go. So let's do it. Okay, so in the mid-1800s, Henry David Thoreau took a horse-drawn carriage out to Chatham, Massachusetts, got off when they got stuck in the sand, and decided to walk 30 miles up to Provincetown. And he wrote about it in a story in a journal called Cape Cod. And along this way, what he was doing was exploring the beach. You know, these are the illustrations from the book. On the left is Cape Cod, parts of it. And he did this distance staying with people, meeting people along the way, but also considered it an exercise of philosophy and wanted to merge with nature. And when I read this a few times back, probably 30 years ago, and it really stuck with me. I wanted to do more hiking. I know we all do hiking and walking here. So I started doing some longer hikes. And this is this interesting, bizarre photograph is my GPS track in Chatham going down South Beach to North Monomoy Island. And I would do this in the middle of the winter when no one would be out there. And you can see it looks like I'm walking in the middle of the ocean out here, but actually the sands there shift all the time. So they're very dynamic. And this is the scene. When you head out to the Cape in January, you'll see these beautiful bed forms of sand, and you can walk for miles. I'd walk for 7 to 10 miles one way and then come back and spend the whole day out there, sometimes with a friend, sometimes alone, and just not encounter anyone, except occasionally I'd come up and find an occasional seal pup who, in this case, was very, I think, kind of happy to see me. He was sunning in the beach here among all these wind-driven dunes and debris, and it's really beautiful. And then a few steps later, of course, the scenery changes because the other part of nature is some seal pups just don't make it. They die of either starvation or disease. And when you see these things on these solitary walks, you think about life and how fragile it is and how important it is. But you also see the cycle of life. This blackback herring gull is making most of a meal here. I know it's kind of a gory, horrific picture, but I want to put it. I moved to Duxbury, Massachusetts eventually, and this is Duxbury Beach, the white sandy beach here. I spent almost every day walking about 6 miles out to Gurnet Point and back, where I can just think about life, make a lot of important decisions in my life, and look at the bay. This is the beach front here. This is my daughter Jane and her friend Katiana. I'd take the kids out now and then, and we'd go for these long walks to just get away from everything and try to understand the meaning of life. And Gurnet Road, which is this next slide coming up, is where I spent so many days pre-dawn watching the sun come up over Provincetown in the distance and make major decisions in my life. So I was merging with nature, I was meditating, and I also thought, I have to get back to Vermont. I used to live here in the 80s. And so I made this big decision to come back to Vermont. And the next slide shows, there's the green state. In the background is Mount Philo. And as it turns out, I ended up moving to a house basically right next to Mount Philo to the right. And I thought, well, since Mount Philo's there and I'm here, I might as well start hiking it every day. So that's what I did. I started walking up Mount Philo, initially with my dog Ollie. This is Ollie or Ollie Vu or El Doggeters or El Doggerino, if you're not into the whole brevity thing. And so this is the first picture I took from this vantage point on top of Mount Philo with Ollie. And then I thought, well, I need a project while I'm up here. I need something to do. So in 1995, Harvey Keitel's in this movie Smoke. He plays Augie Wren. This is a movie written by Paul Auster and Wayne Wang. Here he is. He owns a cigar shop in Brooklyn. Every day at 8 a.m., he takes the picture of his cigar shop every day, looking directly at it from across the street. And that's his life's work, he says. He befriends, by chance, Paul Benjamin, played by William Hurt. And in this scene, they're looking through 10,000 pictures that Augie Wren had taken from that point, looking at a cigar shop. And Paul Benjamin says, I don't understand. They're all the same. And Augie Wren says, they're all the same. But if you slow down and look carefully, you're going to see a lot of differences every day, a different way of looking at the world. So if I showed all the 550 pictures I've taken from the top of Mount Philo in the last year and a half, we'd be here for another hour and 45 minutes. So we can't do that. But these are some samples. This is June 21st, September 21st from the top. Every day looks somewhat the same, but you see they change all the time. Here's December 21st. Here's March, spring equinox. The same place, about 7 a.m. every day for the last 18 months. Now, while I'm doing this, I'm running into people, of course, and I didn't know them, so I had to come up with these names. I had to, until I got to know the names. Long Leash Larry, Snap, Crackle, and Pop, Slim Jim, G.I. Joe, who had things written on his pants, the Panthers, Miss Lonely Hearts, Mustache Man, No Leash, the No Leash Clash, the Puffer, the Slip Kid, the Girlfriend. These were all like funny things that kept me laughing while I was walking up, like, hey, look at those guys. And here's a montage of some of these folks that over the last few years I've become friends with them. These are the people that I'd see every morning, and now we have this community. We talk to each other, we share information. We don't spend a lot of time talking because we all kind of want to do our thing and unravel our brains. But lo and behold, unbeknownst to me, one of these folks was what I'm told was somewhat inspired by my project, my Augie Wren project. Started taking pictures like this and posting them on Instagram every day. And I was like, wait, what? Like, what's going on here? So I ended up running into this person and spending time with her. This is the mystery person here, who's actually here. And walking up and taking our pictures together. We went out when it was 20 below a few weeks ago and took our pictures and posted them. And we've talked a lot about our experiences walking on Mount Philo every day, just like Thoreau walking on Cape Cod. And I'll just end this. This is a picture about 20 years ago of me in Wellfleet out at Great Island in one of the coldest winters that I can remember out there, checking out the scenery and looking out, wondering what I'd be doing in 20 years, not knowing that I'd be standing here talking to you all about walking. So that's the music of chance. Thanks.